In the Kingdom of Bharatpur, King Vikram Singh maintained a massive treasury with a singular, strict condition for distribution. He refused to provide charity to anyone who could not first pass a specialized test of intellect. Most applicants failed immediately. One traveler, seeking simple overnight shelter after being robbed, was stopped by a specific riddle. If you are a traveler, tell me, who are the only two true travelers? Unable to provide an answer, he was denied financial aid and offered only a bed in the palace. The king's answer is the sun and the moon. By defining them as the only true travelers due to their eternal rotation, the king establishes a rule for these tests. Applicants must look past literal definitions to find abstract astronomical truths. This system ensured the king only shared his wealth with lateral thinkers, people capable of identifying patterns that others miss. A local Brahmin family faced this barrier during a period of extreme financial pressure. With their daughter's wedding date approaching and no funds for the ceremony, they were forced to consider the king's challenge. They knew that a standard request for help would fail. In Vikram Singh's court, a lack of money was irrelevant if it wasn't accompanied by a sharp mind. To bypass the king's filter, the Brahmin's wife Sulochana organized a family collective. She sent her husband along with their two sons, Ajay and Vijay, betting that their combined knowledge of the Vedas and logic would be enough to secure the dowry. They approached the palace as a tactical unit, knowing that their survival depended on solving whatever hypothetical scenario the king presented next. The king's first test for the Brahmin involved a puzzle about Princess Padma and the selection of her future husband. The scenario presented 4 suitors, each with a specific specialty: a merchant who manages wealth, a linguist who understands animal speech, a scholar of the scriptures, and an archer who strikes targets by sound alone. In the story, the princess rejects the first 3 suitors and their practical skills, choosing only the archer. The king asked the Brahmin to explain this choice. The Brahmin identified the underlying class alignment. The archer is a warrior. Since the princess is also of the warrior caste, this social logic overrides wealth or knowledge. Identifying this core match proved the Brahmin could filter out variables to find the intended solution. The king then shifted the focus to the eldest son, Ajay, presenting a story about a farmer who needed a loan from a moneylender to save his sick mother. The moneylender set 2 physical constraints. The farmer would only receive the money if he could deliver air inside paper and fire inside paper. On the surface, these are contradictory demands. Paper is highly flammable, making it an unsuitable vessel for heat, and air is uncontainable without a sealed vacuum. This diagram illustrates Ajay's solutions. Folding the paper into an accordion shape converts it into a hand fan to generate air. Second, shaping paper into a lantern creates a buffer zone. The flame sits safely in the center without igniting the paper. Ajay proved that impossible physical constraints can be bypassed by changing the geometry of available tools. The final test for the youngest son, Vijay, was a direct command: find me one man who has never told a lie, and another who has never told the truth. This is a linguistic trap. It encourages you to look for 2 separate people who have lived lives of absolute moral perfection or absolute deception. Vijay responded by bringing forward a single mute man. Because this man cannot speak, he exists in a state of absolute silence. He has never uttered a lie, and simultaneously, he has never uttered a truth. Vijay won by attacking the premise of the question. He recognized that the only way to satisfy 2 contradictory absolutes was to find a subject that didn't participate in the medium of speech at all. After seeing his 3-tiered test solved by a single family, King Vikram Singh shifted from skepticism to full endorsement. The king agreed to cover the full cost of the wedding himself. In a single conversation, the family's immediate financial crisis was resolved through their performance. This family moved from a position of total lack to a position of stability. They achieved this not through an appeal for sympathy, but through a demonstrated mastery of the king's logic. Folklore often uses these riddles to illustrate a practical point. The ability to reframe a problem is a tangible asset. When traditional paths are blocked by strict rules, the capacity for lateral thinking provides a level of leverage that conventional approaches lack.